Okay, so I want us to look at another algorithm, and this is a fairly common one, and it simply allows us to check if a string starts and ends with the same letter. Okay, so in this example, we'll check to see if they both end with the same letter, if they begin and end with the same letter, and if the string does, then we'll print out they match. Otherwise, we'll print out they do not match. All right, so that's a very straightforward thing. So what is the algorithm? What does the algorithm look like? Well, the first thing we've got to do is to get the first character from the string. Next, we need to get the last character from the string. And then of course, we need to compare both characters, and if they match, then we will output the appropriate message. If they do not match, then we will output the appropriate message for not matching. Okay, so if we look at this, let's say I have this string called message, which contains the string capital uppercase noon. Now, by inspection, we can clearly see that the string noon, which is stored in message, begins and ends with capital or uppercase N. Okay, so how would we check this? Well, we could always use the equality operator, where we're checking to see if the first character in the string is the same as the last character in the string. And if you recall from a previous lesson, we said that to find the last character, we simply say message, in this case the name of the string, message.length -1 as the index into the string. So in this case, message open close square brackets will tell us that it's capital N. And then obviously we'll compare both this one and this one to see if they're the same. All right, and of course in this example they are the same. So let's open up Visual Studio Code and let's write the code for this. All right, so I have a folder. Where is it? It's here, code demo, and I'm going to open this folder, string ends. Okay, now inside this folder I will create my C++ file. So I'll come here, okay, and I will name this main. Again, we have to end our C++ files with the extension .cpp. Okay, so let's start off. Pong include, okay, IOStream, right, and of course using namespace st and a d. Okay, so again we need int, we need main, and of course we will have return 0, which I have not explained as yet, but in a couple of weeks you'll fully understand what this means. Okay, so our program is to check if a string begins and ends with the same character. All right, so let's just ask the user for a string. Okay, so let's just say we create the prompt. So we're practicing everything we've learned. Enter a string. Okay, of course that's step 1. Step 2, we create a variable to store the user input. Let's call that user input. Notice whenever I create a variable that consists of two words, the first word is all lowercase, small letters, and the second word, the first letter is uppercase or capital. Okay, that's the pattern we follow. So of course I'm going to save this using cin, which will be stored in user input. Okay, great. So all I have to do now is to check if they are the same. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable called bool of type bool. I'm going to call it is same, and the answer will be whether the string the user entered begins and ends with the same letter. All right. In fact, let me do it the long way so you can see my thought, the way I'm thinking. So I'm gonna say char first letter, okay, and that will be user input 0. All right, we know that. That's the first character of the string. And then I'll create another variable called the last letter. Okay, in fact I shouldn't use letter, let me use character. It's a better name. So the first character. So in programming, it's very important that we choose the correct name of the variable, meaning we tend to use names that are meaningful to us. Okay, so last character. Okay, now the reason why I decided on character is because I want to ensure that if the user maybe types a string, like let's say they type pong hi. Okay, all right, so pong is not a letter, it's a character. So that's why I decided to change it to last character. Anyway, to get the last character, we know that we will get the name of the string, and inside the square bracket, we will simply say the length of the string. So user input dot length, okay, minus 1. Okay, minus 1. So now I will simply compare both the first and last character. So I'm going to say bool result, maybe result of comparison. Okay, notice this variable is made up of 3 words, result of comparison. So I follow the same pattern. The first word, small letters. The second word, capital O. The first letter is capital. And then the third word, capital C. So every other word, every following word, the first letter is capitalized. Okay? So keep that in mind. And that's why I intentionally made this variable name 3 words so that I could show you the pattern. Anyway, we'll simply say compare first character, check to see if it's the same as last character. Okay, let's print that out. See out result of comparison. Okay, and let's see if this works. Let's say here and let's run. Okay, open my terminal. So terminal, new terminal. Okay, let's close that. I don't need any of those. Okay. Okay, good. So enter a string. Let's enter Belize. Okay. And 0. Of course, 0 is false. Okay. All right. Let's come back here. Let's try again. Okay. Let's enter moon. Well, mom. Enter mom. Enters 1. Okay. So I want to do one thing. Instead of it giving us 1 for true and 0 for false, I'll simply change it. So I'm going to come here, and again, you've seen me do this where I say bool alpha. So here I'm going to say bool alpha, which simply means, okay, it simply means I want you to print this thing here using true or false. Okay, that's what this bool alpha in front of the variable name means. So whenever you want to print true or false, whenever you want to convert the 0 to false and the 1 to true, we put this bool alpha in front. So if I open my terminal, okay, and I run again, okay, now if I say mom, it's true. If I run again, okay, if I say apple, it's false. Okay. Now, this is quite a lot of work. Okay. So this is my thinking, right? So we get the first character, we get the second, we get the last character, and then we compare them, and then we print it out. So since you understand this, I will simply use a shorter version. Okay. So I'll comment this out. Okay. It's commented out, and I will simply do this instead. I will simply say bool, let's say is same. Okay, so let me change this to is same. Okay, and so all I'm going to do is to say, okay, I want the value, the result on the right hand side to be the user input 0, okay, whatever that gives me, because remember, and this is very important, we always say that whenever we have something on the right hand side, the computer will evaluate what it is. So the computer will say, okay, what is user input 0? It will go and it will get that character, and then it will compare it to the last character, which again is simply user input dot length minus 1. Okay, so the computer will go and say, okay, what is the last character? It will get that, and then of course it will say, is this character the same as this character? If it's true, that's what will be stored inside is same. If it's false, well, then it will store false inside the box is same. Let me put my semicolon before I forget. Okay, and so now these 3 lines of code, okay, becomes this 1 line of code. So let's see if we get the same result. Okay, let's say mom true, and Let's try something else. Apple, false. Okay, now this brings me to a very good point where some of you might be saying it's a lot of work to compile our code, and that is true. However, after a while you'll get used to it, and I will show you another way of doing it more easily. Okay, so in the next coming videos I'll show you how we can actually do it right from here. Okay, right from this position we can run our program. All right, I'll show that to you in the upcoming videos. All right, so this works. So all I'm going to do now is to get rid of this. All right, I don't need this anymore. And so one thing you should take away from this video is there are many ways to create a program. So the first version that you saw works, and you would have gotten full marks for that program. However, as you get better, as you mature as a programmer, you will be able to write code that is much shorter. Okay, and so this code conveys the same meaning, it gives the same answer, however it's easier to read, and again it takes up one line. Right? And so the idea is we want to be able to write code that is concise, okay, not too wordy, not too wordy. All right, I think that's enough for this video. It's going a bit too long, so I'll stop here and I will see you in the next lesson.